Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I want to talk about making your own smoke maker for a proton pack, but this design has also been utilized in lots of other cosplay and whatever other designs that you need some smoke. So this whole thing actually is really based off of the GitHub page for the GP Star proton pack upgrade. And all of the materials were already provided there, and I just was sort of following the instructions, and I'd figured I'd make a video about it since there isn't really a ton of documentation yet about making a smoke kit. So first off you need, because also this is custom built, the whole thing, and I could probably also rig up some of these for others who are interested in having a smoke kit and not necessarily having the soldering abilities. So let me know in the comment section if someone needs me to build them one. So basically you need one of these little vape coils. And again, this was based off of the stuff they had on GitHub. So they're called Kanger Tech. There's some sort of, vaporizer thing. And basically you can hack this to get it to work, to produce the smoke. And so that's what this is right here. Basically the inside here is isolated with a thin ring. You can barely see it. It's sort of white around the edge of the middle pole there. Because this middle part supplies one side of current, and then the outer ring supplies the other side. And so what you need to do is solder onto that middle post, and then solder a wire. I just sort of fed one through the side here, and then put a bunch of solder on the threads, because it sort of sticks better. You'll probably want to use a temperature controlled soldering iron, because this metal takes a long time to heat up, and if you don't have a temperature-controlled soldering iron, there's no way you're going to be able to get up that hot. And then if you unscrew the inside, this design really kind of stems from also like smoke units inside of model trains. It's the same basic concept, also fog machines. And it's basically just having some sort of wick to soak up a glycerin water mixture, and then in the middle here it heats up super hot, and then it pushes the vaporized glycerin water out of the front. And then if you want to get fancy, there's some of these push connect fittings. This is the number, but again, they have this on GitHub right now if you look, and I'm happy to link people to the spot where they actually tell you the different materials needed. But these are basically some push connect fittings so that you can easily grab some of this tubing that is also linked. This is 4mm inner diameter, 6mm outer diameter silicone tubing. And this fits pretty nicely on the top of one of these push fittings, so that then when you have this connected, or if you ever need to do servicing on this vaporizer, if it melts or something, you can easily unscrew it and get to it. Something I will note is in the GitHub, if you follow the instructions to make your own smoke kit, they link this smaller, 3mm inner diameter tubing, which you can see just a bit smaller. They recommended this tubing for building this to basically link the pump motor and the glycerin vaporizer. I don't recommend that, because if you actually take this tubing, so this is the large one, it fits perfectly over the vaporizer. So that fits really nicely. It's snug, it's not going to pull out. And it fits well enough on this part that I'm really not worried about it. And you could put some hot glue over it if you want. But if you take the smaller tubing, it does not actually fit. You'd have to really, really force that on there. And it's a much snugger fit for this side if you want that. But you would kind of have to slice the tubing open to get it to fit on here, because also you need to solder the inner wire onto this post here in the middle, as mentioned. And basically that's so that you link your air pump, which this is meant for 6 volts, but this is designed to operate off of 5 volts DC, and you'll want to have a lot of amperage going. And also what's not hooked up here right now is there should also be a 1 ohm 2 watt resistor going between the motor and the coil, because they're both operated off the same set of wires. So whenever one of them has power, they both have power, because you don't want the vaporizer coil to get too hot. Those resistors have not arrived yet, and so I'm waiting for those, and I'll put them in when I connect this to the pack's power supply, because right now I just have a DC 5 volt adapter, which isn't able to supply nearly as many amps as a battery will. I'll go ahead and demonstrate the coil quick just so you can see it smoking. But yeah, the little motor just sort of, it's a bit noisy, and it'll take this a second to actually heat up, because of, as mentioned, it doesn't have as much power as it would like. Also, since this has been sitting facing its side, it might not be able to smoke very quickly. So it's starting to smoke right now. The camera's starting to be able to pick it up. There we go. Now it's actually heating up. So now this is actually producing a fair amount of fog. So that you could definitely see in person. Also if you have light effects and stuff. So yeah, there's a little demonstration. Also, as I mentioned, if anybody is wanting me to make a smoke kit for the proton pack, there's a bit of danger involved, because since this draws so many amps, being that it's just basically short-circuiting to make heat, the GP Star board will not support that power directly. And also, I'm not really sure if the Talent Cell battery's inner inverter will actually support that. Basically, how the Talent Cell batteries work, let me grab one quick. So, the Talent Cell battery that they recommend for the GP Star kit has 12 volts here and 5 volts here. The 5 volts is actually supplied from a regulator board inside, because the battery is 12 volts itself. So it's just stepping down the power. So they recommend getting a 5 volt regulator, which I have and I'll be connecting, and then using a relay to connect to the GP Star board to then switch this, because a relay basically is an electrically operated switch, so that it'll short the higher amperage drawing wires to the 5 volt regulator board that I'll be adding. So if anybody's wanting me to make them a kit, I would probably do a relay on here built in, so I could basically make it a plug-and-play thing, so that it has the relay on it and is ready to actually switch, so that nobody has to do soldering of the relays and all that stuff. Also for the GP Star thing, once this actually is connected to tubing and goes to the end filter, there'll be another fan down at the end filter to actually pump the fog out. This is much more straightforward, and again, these fans are sort of supplied in their GitHub page. I ended up going on eBay and purchasing these. They're still identical to the ones that they recommend. I think they're 50 millimeter fans, little blower fans. So this just can plug into the GP Star board if you have the correct JST plug, and you'll just need to extend the wires or what have you for connecting that. But it's just sort of the fog kit that's a bit more complex operating wise. So if anybody has questions, I'm more than happy to try and help people get their thing up and running. Getting the vape coil is a bit trickier. These were pretty cheap because they come in a pack of 5. So that's also nice because I have extra parts if something burns up in here eventually. Because since it's burning glycerin, eventually it'll turn brown and icky and might not work as well. This is the same thing that happens with like the train smokers and stuff. You have to kind of clean them or whatever. But it was 5 for like $10. So overall, the materials needed for this probably cost in the range of $30, $40-ish. But you're having a lot more materials than what you need. So it's hard to say if you wanted to get less materials, if it might be cheaper. I would definitely recommend only buying one type of tubing. This 4mm inner diameter, 6mm outer is it was like $10 for this whole thing of tubing, and then like $10 for the smoker. You get a whole bunch of these fittings, but I think they were again around $8 or so. And then the actual motor here I had already got for a different project, but that costs again around probably $5. And then miscellaneous wire I had laying around. So it's pretty straightforward. So yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, like I say, I'm happy to help.